Greetings, Guardians! My name is XCalion, and today we're going to go over the Nightfall Ordeal exclusive reward, the Swarm LMG. We'll go over the base role as well as the Adept role, and the reason we're going over this is because later today at Reset, we will be getting it's the weekly reset, and we'll be getting the new strike for the week, which will be the Fallen Saber. And if the rotation tells us anything, then this week should be the Swarm. Now, this is the second time that the Swarm Adept has been available as the Grandmaster reward, and so I wanted to go over it today to give you guys an idea of what to look for, what to expect, and later on in the week we might go over a way to farm this role in the Grandmaster strike itself. But for today, for now, let's just get into the base role for the Swarm. This is going to be an Arc LMG. It's going to have an impact of 70, a range of 72, a stability of 40, a handling of 42, a reload speed of 44, aim assistance of 39, a zoom factor of 69 with a recoil of 79. It will tend right. This is a 360 or high impact RPM frame, and it's going to have a magazine of 47. So basically, what all of this means is it shoots slower, but it shoots harder, and it's going to be much better to shoot this weapon if you are stationary. It doesn't work as well if you are moving around so much, but being stationary, crouching, these are all things that you can do to help increase your stability with this weapon. Now, something cool to note about the Swarm is that this is actually a returning weapon from Destiny 1. And we had a bunch of good LMGs in Destiny 1, don't get me wrong. Thunderlord probably being the king, which we also have in Destiny 2, but the Swarm was still pretty good. It was a pretty good pick. And along with the Swarm, we also got the Shadow Price as well as the Palindrome back in the Destiny 2 rotation. And they kind of surprised us before this season started and said that they were going to make these rewards Adept for completing the Grandmasters, if you were able to do so. So, upon doing this, you can be rewarded, I guess for the first time of the week, you're typically rewarded with the Adept version of this weapon. Then after that, it's kind of random. Now, this past week we had the double rewards to go for Palindrome, which was nice, though the strike was pretty difficult. Don't get me wrong, the Fallen Saber strike, that's not necessarily an easy strike, but I think that we'll be able to farm it a little bit easier than last week's strike, the Proving Grounds. So, let's go over the actual traits and perks for this weapon. This does roll with barrels and magazines, so starting off, fluted barrel, hammer forged rifling, and small bore. Realistically, being that this weapon has a 40 stability and a 42 handling, fluted barrel is going to be your all-around best option. This is going to give you just a nice little increase of plus 5 stability and plus 15 to your handling, and that's just a nice little bonus there that gives you no negative side effects. Small bore is also good, being it gives you the range and stability bonus, but I'm choosing to go with fluted barrel on my rolls. Of course, apart from that, you also have, corkscrew rifling, polygonal rifling. I would say avoid arrowhead break or chambered compensator, even extended barrel or full bore. I mean, if it rolls with those and that's all you got, then okay. I would choose to go with any of the others, though. Apart from magazines, we have appended mag, tactical mag, and extended mag, and then it has accurized rounds, steady rounds, alloy mag, and flared magwell. You can go ahead and avoid alloy mag and flared magwell. Getting accurized rounds or steady rounds is going to be okay. Your best options being appended mag, tactical mag, or extended mag. Now, of course, extended mag does give you a reduction to your reload speed, and being a high impact, this has pretty piss-poor reload speed already, just intrinsically. So I would elect to go with either appended mag or tactical mag being my personal favorite option for the plus 5 to stability, nice little plus 10 to reload speed, and a small addition of 4 rounds to the magazine. Now, moving on to the first trait category, we have Surplus, Outlaw, Dynamic Sway Reduction, Killing Wind, Unrelenting, and Bottomless Grief. Now, right off the bat, we can mark off Unrelenting and Bottomless Grief. Bottomless Grief is going to be they're giving it a little boost here in the future. It's basically just going to be a flat 30% increase to your magazine. And that's great. I think that's like +9 to the magazine on this. I think that's okay. But realistically, I think it's just going to be better to go with Surplus, Outlaw, or Dynamic Sway. Now, if you don't spam your abilities too much, you really don't use them much at all, then Surplus is actually going to be probably the best option for you, because it gives you all of those boosts with Surplus, the boost to handling, reload speed, and stability, but apart from that, we have Outlaw and Dynamic Sway Reduction. And Outlaw is great for the really fast reload speed on the Precision Kill, but do not sleep on Dynamic Sway Reduction. I know that that's seen more typically as a PvP perk, but the point behind having an LMG is to lay on the trigger and do serious DPS, and while you're laying on the trigger, you can get the additional stability. So I prefer Dynamic Sway Reduction. Moving on to the second trait column, we have One for All, Dragonfly, Vorpal Weapon, Zen Moment, Tap the Trigger, and Slide Shot. Now, naturally, we can cross Slide Shot off that list. That's not really helpful for an LMG, just adding the rounds and the stability and all that. It's just not really useful to slide with this. But we will look at One for All, Dragonfly, and Vorpal Weapon. Now, Dragonfly, of course, is the best bet for just general ad clearing. Compare that with Dragonfly Spec, and it's great. It's really good for, you know, nuking the field pretty quick. And then Vorpal Weapon is also nice, but that's a pretty small buff to basically bosses exclusively, majors and bosses, and champions. That's great and all, but One for All is realistically your best option. And really, that's not even close, because if you proc One for All, which is easy to do, just tag 3 enemies, any enemies, you get a 35% damage boost, and that lasts for 10 seconds. Now, mind you, Rampage times 3 it goes up to 33% damage boost. This is better than that. And you can keep proccing it indefinitely. Tag another 3 opponents to get the damage back. To reset the timer, it's really good, really solid. And the thing about it is, using Rampage, you might want to use Rampage Spec. Well, if you use this, then you actually have an open mod slot where you can put something like, I don't know, Miner Spec on, or again, if you're using the Adept version, the new Adept Big Ones mod, which I feel like it affects everything except miners. It affects the majors. Basically does the work of the big ones and the major spec. And it does more damage. So if you do that, then you have even more damage. I think it could go upwards of 42% on majors and bosses and vehicles and stuff like that. It's really the best option. So what I would be looking for here is probably going to be either Dragonfly or One for All, and I'm not gonna lie, One for All really takes the cake. Now, I do want to stress that this is, of course, a PvE weapon over a PvP weapon, so I would not suggest using this over a 450 RPM in PvP, but if you absolutely must, this does roll with the deadly duo of Dynamic Sway Reduction and Tap the Trigger. And if you're feeling extra salty, you can also use Killing Wind or Vorpal Weapon just as your choice. And that will bring me to my PvE God roll, which would be Fluted Barrel for the +5 to stability and +15 to handling, Tactical Mag for the +5 to stability, +10 to reload speed, and the 4 additional rounds in the magazine, and Outlaw Dynamic Sway Reduction over Surplus, since I do use my abilities often, and we'll finish that off with One for All for the +35 or +42 with Minor Spec, with 10 full seconds of bonus damage. In closing, I don't know if this is going to be an LMG that we will use over, let's say, a Commemoration or a Thermal Erosion, but Commemoration having Reconstruction on it, and Recombination is, of course, very helpful, Recombination being very similar to One for All, but this is the only LMG in the game that can currently drop with One for All. So I definitely think it's worth checking out. I definitely think it's worth farming the Grandmaster for to try and go for that Adept role. And the Adept role, being able to equip the Adept mods on it, just seems worth it to me. And if you find yourself able to complete the Grandmaster this coming week, I definitely suggest you give it a shot. Apart from that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for checking out the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and Godspeed, my friend.